Hello, I'm scared. Hello, I'm airy. And boy oh boy, this video is going to be something. It is Pride Month, and what better way to celebrate than to come out? Kind of. You see, this was just supposed to be a silly little coming out video, but instead it turned into a month-long research about the basics of the LGBTQ plus community. I mean, I'll still come out, but that's just like a secondary objective now. Anyway, these are the topics that I'll be covering today. An introduction to the LGBTQ plus community, discrimination against the community, being LGBTQ plus in the Philippines, and coming out. Now I'll be honest, this isn't exactly a deep dive. In fact, it's the complete opposite. It's like dipping your toes into the water. I am but a lonely dropout with time and mediocre research skills. The things that I researched are pretty surface level stuff, and I'd like you to take that as an invitation to learn more about the community if you wish. I'm making this video for my family and friends mostly. I like to share who I am and the community that I'm part of. But of course, this can also be for anyone who'd like to learn a little bit about the LGBTQ plus community. There's a lot to learn. Even I didn't know some of the stuff I ended up learning. I'll try my best to make this friendly and digestible so that you can send it to whoever you think is interested. Or you can send it to your favorite homophobe and tell me what they think. Before we start, I'd just like to mention that I'll be linking down the research paper, or more like essay, that I wrote along with the sources, like links to articles and PDF files down in the description below.
Cuffed jeans, caffeine, and closets. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little community. But the bottoms accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction: gender dysphoria. Thus, the queer community was born. Using their knowledge on astrology, the girls, gays, and theys have dedicated their lives to fighting homophobes and the forces of evil.
So what is the LGBTQ plus community? Well, let's have a look at what the acronym stands for. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer or questioning. To be gay is to be attracted to people of the same gender. Lesbians, also known as women-loving women, are, well, women-loving women. Some friends prefer to be called gay women, while others prefer the term lesbian. Bisexual friends are those who are attracted to more than one gender. Though the bi and bisexual may imply that they're attracted to two genders, the meaning has changed over time. Transgender friends are those who don't identify with the gender they're assigned at birth, so this includes male to female to male, and non-binary friends. Now the Q can mean two things: queer and questioning. Queer is the term used by people that feel that their sexual orientation and/or gender identity doesn't fit into a specific label. This is also used as an umbrella term for the LGBTQ plus community. Questioning refers to friends who are unsure about their sexual orientation and/or gender identity, or maybe they prefer not to think about it. Funny. Now that's just the acronym. There's a whole bunch of other sexualities and gender identities that are part of the community. Some that you may not have heard of, but are completely valid. Basically, if you are a non-heterosexual and/or non-cis friend, then you are welcome to the community. You wanna know what's not a part of the LGBTQ plus community? Pedophiles, necrophiles, and zoophiles. You may be thinking, Harry, that's common sense. Why would you even say that? Well, keep that in mind for later. The LGBTQ plus community is considered a minority group because, well, we're not the majority. I knew this going into the research, but I didn't realize how small the community actually was. I'll preface this by saying it's insanely hard to get data for the queer population. Most, if not all, studies are done by analyzing surveys that aren't really focused on the community itself, like health surveys and tobacco use and stuff like that. In a 2011 study, it was shown that in the US, the highest estimate for LGB respondents was 5.6%, and in non-US surveys, it went as high as 2.1%, which isn't all that high. Unfortunately, there are even less studies about the trans population, and I couldn't find a global statistic for this one. The only recent one I could find was a 2016 study, and it was just in the US. It showed that about 0.6% of respondents identified as transgender friends. Now, I don't know about you, but that's way too little. How will I ever get a girlfriend, eh? This topic is hard. Researching about it was hard, writing about it was hard, and talking about it will be hard. So instead, I wrote a song. What is discrimination in the LGBTQ plus community? What if I told you that it's something that we deal with constantly? It's not fun, it's not great,
Not at all.
so please listen while I become irate. Well, first, you have to learn this term. It's an ideology called heteronormativity. It basically states that being straight is the default, and if you're gay, then go away. It's really that easy. It also perpetuates harmful stereotypes like men good, women bad, men win the bread, and women only wife. Great, now you're all caught up. We can begin. I'll tell you about the hatred against the group I'm in, harassment in media, religion, and law. A lot of people think being queer is a flaw. They say, hey, it's okay to be queer, but actually it's not. You can be you if you pretend to be somebody that you're not. These statistics may be from the US, but I can guarantee you it happens everywhere else. In school, at work, people are jerks. I can't go online without being called a dyke. It's been proven that queer students are more likely to get bullied, and a third of queer workers report being harassed while on duty. And in the media, it's a different story because we actually aren't part of the stories. 773 characters this year, but only 9% of them were queer.
Hire me.
Hey, it's okay to be queer. Just kidding, it's not. You can be you, but you'll go to hell and rot. So religion. Anyway, in 69 countries being gay is a crime, and in 7 of those countries you'll be sentenced to die. Also in 9 countries being trans isn't allowed. Was that too much? Well, here's a rundown. Being gay, crime. Being trans, crime. Being cis hetero,
Crime.
yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay.
And even in the countries where it's decriminalized, there still aren't laws protecting us from discrimination, so... Now I don't mean to downplay the situation with a silly song, but I mask my depression with mediocre comedy, so please, just sing along. Hey, it's okay to be queer until it's not.
You can be you if you don't mind getting shot.
You say we're going to hell, but we're already in hell. You make life a living hell. Why can't I be myself? I'm in hell. You are my hell. I'm in hell. Hey,
I love
hey,
hell.
hey,
Yum
yeah.
yum. Oh jeez, what am I doing?
Hey, it's okay to be be queer, it really is. You can love who you really are and who you want to. Wow, am I an arsonist on a bender? No.
But these bars are fire, dude.
But seriously, I highly recommend reading the essay. It goes way more in depth into the topic. It is a very serious and uncomfortable reality for the queer community, and the song doesn't do it justice at all. But I hope it's enough to make you aware that these problems do exist. But also, I mask my depression with mediocre comedy, so please, no. But yeah, seriously, please read the essay. So there's some stuff that I didn't include in the song or the essay, one of them being religion. It's a delicate subject, a very, very delicate subject. I got intimidated looking at a list of religions on Wikipedia, and I promptly realized I'm not confident enough to write about it. Plus, religion in itself is complex in a way that the people in it don't share the same beliefs despite being taught the same things. However, I still want to talk about my religion a little bit. I'm Catholic. Was Catholic. I grew up Catholic. I went to a Catholic school for 12 years. I enjoyed serving in 2 churches. Also, most Filipinos, around 80% I think, are also Catholics. So let's talk about it. There's this book. It's like a manual for being Catholic. No, not the Bible. Silly. Why would you even think that? It's the Catechism of the Catholic Church. And in this book, Part 3, Section 2, Chapter 2 to be exact, it has the Church's stance on our homosexual friends. It says, and I quote, "They must be accepted with respect, compassion, and sensitivity. Every sign of unjust discrimination in their regard should be avoided." But it also does say that homosexual acts, gay sex, is a sin, because the purpose of sex is to create life. Now, I couldn't find their stance on our transgender friends in the Catechism, but I did find a document that was released by the Congregation of Catholic Education in 2019. It was called Male and Female, He Created Them. Now, I'm oversimplifying because it's a big document, but what I got from it was basically that you should accept the body that you're born with because there's a purpose to it. It's a very interesting document. It discusses gender theory and how the church reacts to it. And I do encourage you to read it, whether you agree or disagree. In both of these sources, however, it is explicitly stated that even if the church doesn't agree with people being queer, disrespecting and discriminating against them is heavily frowned upon. Take this information and do with it what you will. But I hope you can understand that you can't use Catholicism as a front for hating and harassing against people in the queer community. It's not religion. It's prejudice. While we're here, I just want to quickly mention some other stuff that didn't make it to the essay. These are just some observations and opinions, so don't take it as gospel. Internalized homophobia and transphobia is a thing. It's when a queer person experiences so much negativity from society that they start to internalize that. It's not only harmful to oneself, but also to the entire community. If queer people start hating other queer people, then the cis heteros will think it's okay to hate us, and we can't let them have that, even if they already hate us. Internalized homophobia and transphobia set me back so much in my journey. I spent 6 months crying every night because I had my first girl crush and I hated myself for it. But self-hatred isn't the only manifestation of internalized homophobia and transphobia. It can also sound like this. I'm gay, but not that type of gay. You know, the kind that makes it their whole personality? I'm a lesbian, but I'd never date a trans woman. I only date real girls. I thought you were a trans man. You're not supposed to wear makeup. Guys, real talk. Can we please stop? We're already oppressed enough, and I keep seeing queer people tearing each other down on the internet because they don't express their gender or sexuality in the normal way. The whole point of the community is that we're different. We're built different, and that's okay. Oh, Also, can we stop erasing bi, pan, ace, and non-binary people? They exist. I don't want this video to be too long, so here are some quick facts about the queer community in our country. Did you know that the earliest accounts of gender nonconformity in the Philippines was in the 16th century? They had priestesses called babaylans. While most were female, some males crossed genders and they were given the same respect and honor. Sadly, this indigenous practice faded when the Spaniards came. Did you know that in June 26, 1994, the first Pride March in the Philippines was also the first in Asia? It was in remembrance of the Stonewall riots that took place 25 years prior. Did you know, in 2013, a youth survey states that 2.1% of respondents identified as lesbian or gay, while 1.7% of respondents identified as bisexual? Bazinga! Did you know, as of 2012, there are 40 LGBTQ plus organizations in the Philippines? Wowee! Did you know that in a 2019 global study, 73% of Filipinos agree that homosexuality should be accepted by society? That makes Philippines one of the most gay-friendly countries in Asia. Did you know that despite being one of the most gay-friendly countries, the Philippines doesn't have national laws protecting the community from discrimination? Wait, what? You know, in my research about the queer community in the Philippines, one line really stuck with me. It went something like this. There are signs of acceptance in the Philippines, but is this acceptance based on queer Filipinos conforming to stereotypes? Do we actually accept queer people, or do we accept our perception of them? When we see feminine gay men on television, is that really inclusive, or is it just because haha, funny gay man in a wig? Regardless, the fact still stands that we don't have laws protecting queer Filipinos from discrimination. I mean, we have anti-discrimination laws and anti-bullying laws, but the broad definitions leave room for people to target queer Filipinos specifically. Yes, every person deserves basic rights. But what happens if business owners, or teachers, or politicians don't see us as people? What if, say, a famous, influential boxer turned senator were to say that gay people were worse than animals? Okay, I know he said sorry, but did he really mean it? Did he really? I want to talk about the Soggy Equality Bill. Sogi, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a sexual orientation and gender identity and expression equality bill. It's a bill that seeks to protect people from discrimination based on their sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. It was first filed in the year 2000, which means it's been a 21-year-long fight for queer Filipinos, and it still hasn't passed. There has been progress. Geraldine Roman is the first transgender congresswoman, and she's been fighting hard for this bill, along with other politicians. But we still have a long way to go, and a lot of people are setting us back. Okay, I want to talk about a specific event, because when I read about it, I wanted to go to sleep. But forever. Last year, there was a House hearing on the Soggy Equality Bill, and this lawyer brought up two questions. First, will this bill protect pedophiles and necrophiles? And second, what's in it for the straights? First of all, pop quiz. Which one of these is a gender identity? Hint, it's none of the above. Second of all, what's straight? Is being heterosexual, right? And that's a sexual orientation, right? Yeah. Jokes aside, this isn't a new thing that queer people deal with on the daily. Gay people were seen as child predators. Trans people were seen as cross-dressers wanting to harass people in bathrooms. Bi and pan people were seen as confused straight people. And a whole bunch of utter nonsense. Also, giving us rights won't take away yours. That's not how it works. If someone were to say, kick you out of a bookstore for being a cis-hetero friend, then yeah, you can use this bill to protect yourself. There's literally no downside to this bill. Well, except if you're that lawyer, then you have a lot to say in this Facebook rant about how the world is ending because queer people are allowed to exist. Yes, coming out. The two words that bring excitement and fear to every queer person's heart. Coming out is short for coming out of the closet, in which a queer person discloses their sexuality or gender identity. If you're not out, then you're closeted. The history of this term is actually very interesting. Back in 3000 BC, when the pyramids were first built, pharaohs that were rumored to be queer were buried in cloth. Just kidding, that's not true at all. I have no idea where the term comes from. But why do queer people come out? Well, if you paid attention to the song, you'd remember the term heteronormativity. Basically, most people assume that you're straight and cis because that's the norm. Coming out is like saying, yeah, no, I'm not straight, or cis, or both. Just thought I'd let you know. Next, you might be thinking, why is it so special? Why not just be out in the first place? Okay, maybe you're not thinking that. I mean, we just had like a whole song dedicated to all the horrible stuff queer people go through. Unfortunately, being out isn't an option for some friends because of the consequences they may face for being themselves. There are lots of stories where queer people get kicked out of their homes, abandoned by family, even physically harmed and hate crimed. I'm very privileged and lucky to be able to come out on my own terms and to have such supportive friends and family. I mean, those who already know.
Kuya, I'm gay. How do you feel about that?
Okay.
Renee, I'm gay. How do you feel about that?
Cool, I guess. I mean, I know, but
Okay, thank you. Bye.
The audio didn't get recorded for this part, but I'll improvise. Ha! Okay, so I said, "Hi, mommy, I'm gay. How do you feel about that?" And she was like, "Oh, it's okay." And I said, "Thank you."
Pancake, I'm gay. How do you feel about that? Oh, okay, thank you. The very first people I came out to was my friend group in 6th grade, and I was so nervous, like actually really scared. I remember messaging them the night before, begging them not to hate me after I told them my secret. When I did come out, everyone was okay with it. One of them even said, "Geez, I thought you were gonna say you killed a man." It's a good thing that I totally did not kill a man. And yeah, some people have outed me without my permission, and I get the occasional, "How do you know you're gay if you haven't had
Fettuccine Alfredo.
another inappropriate and invasive questions?" I always try to answer respectfully, even when I'm annoyed or angry. Maybe I'm just optimistic, but sometimes people are genuinely confused and want to learn about these things. This video may be lighthearted and jokey joke, but that's not entirely how I feel about this. I'm angry and frustrated and sad about a lot of these topics. I know some of us hate it when we have to coddle the cis-hets, but I want this to have the best chance of being seen by the people who need to hear it, the people who are willing to learn about us and support us, or even acknowledge that we exist. I'm not aiming to solve homophobia or transphobia, but if I can get my religious family to understand who I am and what I go through, then I did the thing that I set out to do. But Ari, oh my god, you put us through so much blabber and statistics, and I thought this was a coming out video. Where's the part where you come out? Okay, here it is. Wait, was that there before?
What the fuck?
Oh, oh, wow, thank you. Oh, thank you. Wow. Okay, okay. Wow, all that for an inconclusive answer. But seriously, I'm just not sure. I'm sure of the fact that I like women, I love women, and I have little doubts about being able to fall in love with people regardless of their gender. Sexuality isn't a choice, we all know that, but we can't deny the fact that some people have life experiences that affect their attraction, and that doesn't make it any less valid. I have limited experiences with men, and most of them were really bad. I'm honestly not sure if I'm genuinely not attracted to them or if I'm just afraid of them. Maybe, probably both. I know there are good men. One of my closest friends is a great guy. But if a car crashes every time you ride it, you're gonna wanna just walk. I'd love to just say lesbian or ban or pi and be done with it. What did I say, pi? I'd love to just say lesbian or pan or bi and be done with it. But I don't think I can label how I feel if I don't know what I'm feeling. Sexuality is fluid after all. It can change anytime, whether we like it or not. If you really wanted a label, I think the closest you can get is lesbian. But that implies that I'm a woman who likes other women.
Which brings me to gender identity.
This is something that I only recently thought about. And I think that's because I've had time and space to explore myself. I didn't even know I had dysphoria until I stopped wearing something I was forced to wear for a long time. So, I'm envy. What's envy? Envy stands for airy with no boobs. Yes, please. NB stands for ew, nasty breakfast, yuck. NB actually stands for non-binary. I'm non-binary. I'm non-binary. I am non-binary. I'm non-binary. God, it feels good to say that. Really good. Just don't ask me which kind. I haven't gotten that far yet. There are many other subgroups within that term, but basically it's friends who don't identify with the traditional binary of genders, aka male and female. To be quite honest, it's not that I don't want to be part of either. It's more of like, I don't care enough to be part of either. I also don't have preferred pronouns, so you couldn't mess up even if you wanted to misgender me on purpose. Yes, some people are like that. I know, right? What? It doesn't really matter to me if people understand how I am or not. I just know that this is what I'm comfortable with. But there's only one thing I ask of you. Please call me by my name. Hello again. I'm Ari. But most of you don't know me as Ari. As many transgender friends know, changing your name is a big part of transitioning. For me, it's not really a gender thing. Well, it is. It's a gender thing. But it's also like a personal thing. I know in most coming out videos, people say that they haven't changed and they're still the same person despite coming out. But for me, I have changed. I am a different person. And being non-binary is just a byproduct of that. I'm nervous. I am nervous, yeah. So if you didn't know, 2 years ago, something terrible happened. And I lost almost everything, but on my recovery, I realized that I had to lose a lot of things to make space for new and better things. I'm a different person. I'm better than who I was 2 years ago. I'm airy, and my heart grows 3 sizes whenever my friends call me that. Because for me, it's like saying, yes, you did it, you survived, you're airy. I'm not trying to bury my past or get rid of Fiona. I hold myself accountable for all the mistakes she's made and all the pain that she's caused to other people. And I know there's a lot, but I am trying to be the person that I want to be. I'm still me, but I'm airy. God, I hope that makes sense. It may be hard for some people, especially those who are close to you, to adapt to something like that. But it's way harder for someone to live with a name that they don't connect with anymore. I'm not stopping you from calling me Fiona. You can call me whatever you want. Your feelings are valid, and I do try my best to understand. But all I ask is for you to consider it, at least. I'm airy. I'm non-binary. I like women. Maybe men. Probably not. But yeah, that's me. I'm out. That's me. I'm out. Nice. Good. Oh god. Hello, it's been a few weeks since I last filmed and a lot has happened. I gave myself a mullet, class has started, and most importantly, I haven't finished editing. I gave myself a schedule and I think I've stayed pretty consistent up until the editing phase. This part was supposed to be filmed after I've sent the draft to some friends for review, but I got a bit anxious and I didn't want to burden them because the video was getting a bit long. Still, I'd like to thank some people that helped with the process. Thank you to my mom and to my brother who helped me film a bunch of stuff and let me film them. Thank you to best boy Renee. He's been so kind and supportive, always willing to watch the
Stuff.
I make. And thank you to whoever previously owned this second-hand laptop. It's in great shape and has never crashed while I was editing. Before we wrap up, I want to answer 2 more questions. The first one being, is it necessary to come out? Maybe you're a baby queer and you see all these people coming out in big special ways. I just want to let you know you don't have to do it big. Coming out can be as simple as just telling a close relative or a friend. It can be as simple or as creative as you want it to be. Heck, you don't even have to come out at all. You don't owe anyone an explanation. And if you're coming out, make sure you're doing it because you want to. I wish you luck on your journey to self-discovery, and I hope you learn to love who you really are and not what people want you to be. The second question is, why did I make this video? Like I said, I hope to give the basics of the queer community to whoever is interested. Usually, these types of videos have a call to action. Honestly, I'm not what you'd call a woke person. I haven't donated to any organizations, I'm not part of any either, and I don't really use social media often, if at all. I'm just not at that point where I can contribute all that much. Yet. When I get my life together, you bet your ass that's gonna be one of the first things on my list. I don't want to make people feel guilty for not being hardcore activists. Some people just don't have the ability or resources to do their part. Something as simple as telling your friends, hey, can you not say or do that? That's kind of homophobic. It's already a step in the right direction. I guess my call to action would be, do what you can, even if it's not your all. Even if you think it's just a drop in the ocean. One of the sources I included lists some organizations that you could support if that's how you want to go about it. But really, something isn't nothing. And everything is made of a bunch of somethings. You feel me? Yeah. Oh, and one last thing. I'll be giving away 2 friends! They'll come with a sweater with a pride flag of your choice. You'd have to pay for delivery though because I'm not that rich. By the way, I'm only giving away the red panda and the deer. The money's going to someone very special to me. Nope, not a significant other. I don't have one of those yet. I know, right? What? I'll be giving it to the first 2 people to figure out the thing I hid across the video. Sorry, okay, I like ARGs too much to make this easy for you. Good luck, and thank you so much for watching until the end. Bye!
Fettuccine